What's good, people? You're locked into myself, Benji, here at FLEXXLBODYBUILDING.com, people. If you don't know, get to know where are you. Original bodybuilding wear for original bodybuilders. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. My name is Benjamin. Just not Benji, please. This is a brief introduction as to who I am and what FLEXXL is. Right, you don't know how many takes I had to do with that. It was a tongue twister to say that then. Anyway. Like I said, my name is Benjamin, not Benji. I am 40 years old, going to be 41 this week. Yeah, I know, times are hard. However, I'm grateful I'm here. So, 41 this week, people. I have been bodybuilding for the last 6 years, nearly in April. I have been dedicated, devoted and determined, and I have been consistent for those last 6 years. And now it is starting to show, it's starting to pay off, and I am slowly becoming the Greek Adonis that I want to become. To be honest with you, people, I started bodybuilding for my mental health, right? It wasn't because I wanted to be big. It wasn't because I wanted to flex. I didn't want capped shoulders. I didn't want big delts. I didn't want to mog people like these kids are talking about. I just wanted to feel better in my brain. You know, there's a saying in life, the devil makes work for idle hands. Basically meaning, if you don't keep yourself busy, you're going to get into trouble. So, the gym was an absolute outlet for me to keep my mind preoccupied from doing stupid things that would lead to nowhere. Bodybuilding, for me, was a stress reliever, but then it became my world, man, my rock, my everything. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what I'd do without bodybuilding. I really don't know what I'd do without bodybuilding. I'll be straight up with you guys. Bodybuilding saved my life so much because I was erratic. I was spontaneous and unhealthy, like extremely unhealthy. Like I wasn't big or anything. I didn't look unhealthy, but I was extremely underweight and unhealthy. Never drank a pint of water in my life. Do you know what I mean? You know all that, guys. You know, I'm sure some of you guys out there may be watching this thinking about turning your life around. And honestly, if you're going to do it, guys, it's the best thing you could ever do for yourself. Personal investments are always the best ones because if you F up, it's on you. My first experience of bodybuilding when I was 14 years old, to be honest with you. I was 14 years old, still in school. You know how the lads go, you want to go gym? Yeah, mate, yeah. But back then, you got to understand in the 90s, there's no pure gyms. There's no gym groups. There's no Everlast gyms. There's none of these JD or nothing like that. Do you know what I mean? There's just straight up, hardcore, stinking, sweaty, pungent bodybuilding gyms. You know, just cast iron bodybuilding gyms. You know, stuff's welded. You know, it's not safe. It's got no health and safety stickers on it. Do you know what I mean? It's none of that, but it's what it's supposed to be, bodybuilding. Now, as a 14-year-old walking into this bodybuilding gym, you know, it's obviously daunting. It's very, very daunting because you've got to understand, back in the 90s, guys, bodybuilding gyms were predominantly preoccupied by underworld socialites, shall we say? You know what I mean? You know, and they're in there doing their thing. So there's always a bit of a hierarchy in there. There's always a bit of a hierarchy. You know, who's the man, who's not the man, you know, and obviously as a 14-year-old, you go in there, you know what I mean? You know, you're the underling, you know what I mean? You know, get off that, mate. But, you know, nonetheless, you know, it provided an environment for me that I knew I had to behave in, because if you don't, you're going to get told you're out of line. And you have to respect everybody else's space, everybody else's character in there. So it does build character as a young man going into these kind of gyms, however daunting it can be. Like I said, I had no choices back then. That's what it was. You walk in there. In fact, I'll tell you the story. In Rill, there was a gym called the Powerhouse Gym. It was there for years. I can't remember the name of the street. I keep wanting to say River Street, but I don't think it was River Street, but it might be River Street. However, who cares? Powerhouse Gym, back in the 90s. You used to walk down the road. There was a tiny little door, narrow stairs going all the way up, creaky little old stairs. And you wonder, like, to be honest, how them stairs even, how would they even stay there, to be honest with you? Because there were some big fellas coming in there at the time. Very, very big fellas. And in fact, one guy particularly always stuck out to me, and his name was Craig King. Now, I don't know if anybody else out there knows who Craig King is, but Craig King was a big bodybuilder back in the 90s. And he was a big guy, and he used to have this mullet kind of like ponytail thing from what I remember. The whole striped baggy pants and stuff, you know, like the stringer all cut up open and all that. And he used to have the tiniest little car that you couldn't get in. And I just used to think, wow, what a contrast. But bodybuilding gyms are amazing for meeting people, for building character, and just for general rule of order of discipline. And yeah, it builds a respect. You build a respect for yourself and for other people's space. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit here, guys. However, this is the story. This is my life. If you want to listen to it, here it is. I love that gym. I'm not going to lie. I love that gym. I kept going back. And then over the years, you know, as you get older, you know, you get into other things, partying, and like you stop going, then you start going again because you want to look a little bit, you know, t-shirt workouts and stuff. So I've always been going to the gym, not going to the gym, going to the gym, not going to the gym. I've known what to do for a while. I've known how to do certain things. I've known how to perform exercises. And the last 6 years, taking it seriously, I've just homed in on it. And really, to be honest with you, pushed myself harder than anything else in my life ever before. Now, it's a personal thing for me. At the age of 40, I think it was, or possibly 39. Yeah, 39, I was diagnosed with autism late. And just this year, a couple of months ago, I was diagnosed with ADHD. Now, why am I saying this? Because in all honesty, the gym genuinely helped me control some of those issues that would leak into life in a messy way. You know, the ADHD, erraticness, spontaneity and stuff like that, you know, does not go hand in hand with the autism of trying to be precise, you know, obsessed and stuff like that, you know, like they're quite contradictory in some respects, to be honest with you, and it can be quite battling. This is still a battle that I battle with to this day. I have no qualms with saying, as a man, I cry. And if you have a problem with that, maybe you need to cry. Maybe you just need to cry. Because sometimes, you know, men have to be portrayed as these tough guys and whatever else. Listen, I'm a tough guy. Yeah, I'm a tough guy. But I cry. That's fine. Who cares? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Anyway, having said, this is the thing that I've stuck to the most in my life. It is the one thing that I have really, truly stuck to, pushed myself into, and tried to elevate with a target, with a goal in mind. I'm going to compete, guys. You know what I mean? I'm definitely going to compete. I might have left it a little bit later, but that's because I wanted to make sure that I came to the stage with something that I was happy to represent. Rome was not built in a day. Bodybuilding will have you thinking that you can have a transformation within 6 months and you're going to be on stage within 9. You're going to get a pro card by 1 year. It's ridiculous, man. Honestly, it's absolutely ridiculous, guys. You've got to put the graft in. You've got to put the grind in. You've got to really go hard for it, right? Honestly, the race is not for the swift with bodybuilding. It takes days, hours, minutes, months, years. It's just a continuous progression. And having said about continuous progressions, for me, bodybuilding has given me a platform to be me, because now I have something that's an outlet for me to push the bad energy out of and reap a good reward out of. I know it seems a little bit dramatic like that, but that's truly how I feel, right, guys? Honestly. So, having said that, with FLEXXL, it's like my journey wrapped up into a brand. I want bodybuilding to go back to bodybuilding. I don't want it to be tight compression gear and all abs and, you know, like whatnot. I want it to be bodybuilding, symmetry, aesthetics, you know, really chasing the art of sculpting the body, original bodybuilding. In a nutshell, guys, bodybuilding for me has absolutely changed my life for the best. And because it has, I want to keep progressing in that way, right? I want to keep going in that direction. So that's when I came up with FLEXXL. What is FLEXXL? It's a clothing brand. It's my clothing brand. Who's it made by? It's made by me. And if you want to know a little bit more, guys, please tune in for part 2. Until next time, guys, keep on pumping.